name is Derek Ongeri once again. I work at Locate IT, and we've been trying to what Vagelis has just presented on how we can use the platform to generate some use cases and prove the relevance of the system and its usability. So this particular use case will focus on crop condition monitoring services. We have two presentations. The other one is just follow this one on the water quality and water extent mapping. So just to give a bit of background is we know very well that Kenya's economy is reliant so much on agriculture, and it provides employment to some of our so it provides income to most households in Kenya. And another statistic worth mentioning is for some of the staple foods in Kenya, such as maize, we still have imports at almost $60 million. That's close to 7.5 billion as of 2020 and 2021. And we know that we are moving towards food sustainability and better nutrition for our people, and we want to create agriculture, an agricultural economy where we have value addition and better production. As was mentioned by the guest of honor, Mr. Boga, earlier on, as in these are the key agendas. But then we still face a lot of challenges, including climate variability. We also have the lack of modern technologies for monitoring, and also certified information that can be verified, and all this modern knowledge that we really need to adapt our agriculture to climate and also to better our production. Now, those form part of the motivation for some of this, trying to develop these use cases and this co-design process that we are having currently. And the motivation here is really to increase the production and also the value addition. Once we are improving yields because of some of this information that we get, we can actually move to the point where we are doing value addition and making agriculture work in terms of putting money into the pockets of Kenyans and improving income. As they said, we raise it from 465 shillings a day to around 600. So we need to also reduce this importation, because we know in any economy, the more imports you have, the less exports you have. That's a dying economy. So we also need to bring back, reduce this number of imports so that that money can be used for the improvement of other things. Then promote sustainable agricultural processes. This is mostly touching on the environment and also making sure that a farm is productive throughout the different years. Some poor agricultural practices are what are leading to the reduction in productivity. So in this use case, particularly, we are focusing on the extent of crops and the status and the condition and health at the field level, and also trying to offer intervention measures, weather advisories, and all that. So by providing this crop mapping and monitoring, we can actually help farmers avert some unforeseen losses because of some of the information that they don't have. And then also trying to see how we can develop a communication framework. Now, I know the largest representation here is coming from policymakers in terms of agriculture, and we look at it from maybe countrywide perspective. But this approach, I will start actually from the field level, and then from this field level, we can see, because really sometimes we formulate policies and they remain at that top level, but it's good to see the trickle down effect of it. And as you can see, I think this has been the discussion with within the consortium for the use case of Kenya. And for this particular use case, we were starting from a point of knowledge where we have some farmer information, and then we have some in-season crop monitoring, that is crop phenology, crop health index, and also some weather information. And then also in this, we try to see what we can improve, and so that the farmer or whoever is making decisions about the farming in a particular administrative area can actually get information that is reliable and also will help them improve the agriculture in that area. So I believe we've seen the platform, and this is one thing that is really captivating about it, is that you can add your own data to this platform. And I know recently we have so many programs that are actually targeting farmers and collecting even farmer information in databases. So right here we have, I don't know if it's visible enough, but we have some of the information from a field exercise, and you can see the evidence of the crop that was planted and the start and end date of the from the farmer on the date that they planted and on the date that they harvested. I'm starting from here so that we can see how this information, without having gone to the field and gotten this information from the farmer, we can still land at this. I think someone from the ministry had asked about the statistics and everything. So this is an example of a field survey, and we are trying to see how this can be used if we can still arrive at the same information. So this is also one particular field, and particularly here we are looking at the, first of all, verifying the crop type. As you had been, as from the earlier presentation, we saw that the crop type data is the crop calendar data, consisting of, for those who are remote sensing experts, it's a multi-band raster, where the last band, which is the 10th band, is the crop type. So from this, from the previous slide, the crop type that was here was maize, particularly, and also from the crop type mapping, the index 4 was a representative of maize. So in a way, this gives us the first approximation that we can know for this agroecological zone, if the crop classified was maize and from the field it's still maize, there is some level of evidence and accuracy that we need at the top level in terms of making decisions. So this was to verify from the data source in terms of the crop that was planted and which was tallying with the in-field data. So the second part, I think, and what has been demonstrated is the time series. And we can actually deduce a lot from this. So I'm going to look at it from 3 points. We are looking at farmer advisory. So if you look at this time series data, if you look at the time series data, you can easily tell this right here, and the graphs and the peaks that you see is what we call crop phenology. So we can easily tell the start and the end of the season for this particular farm. And for this one, it begins right around May, and it only has one cropping season in that year. Now, another thing you can note is that this peak has gone up throughout the consecutive season, an indication that perhaps there is better farm practices or the conditions are improving for that farm, which if you vary the farms, you might find some different information. But this can tell on the general productivity of how the farms are doing. So this in ideally is information that can be used by people offering advisories to farmers in terms of if you have your farmers in a group and you have their databases or an idea or location of where their farms are, and you can synthesize this information, you can easily give that long-term advice in terms of the long-term practices of the farmers. So you can see these are 3 crop seasons, only 3, but now you can date back if you have the long time series, and this will inform the improving of agricultural practices and even looking into the conditions of the farm so as to boost its productivity. So in season, again, these are 3 seasons. You can expand the graph and see the trend in which the crop is how the crops are doing. We had the NDVI anomalies. We have the leaf area index as had been presented earlier. And these are one for those who want to do, let's say, agricultural insurance. This is information that they can use actually for those who are planning in terms of even importation. Sometimes there's just crop failure, let's say because of prolonged drought or maybe a shortage in rainfall that was unforeseen. And then we have to get some supplementary budget or something. So very early we can tell whether our fields are doing good or they're doing bad, and gives us that early warning aspect. What you can see here also is an intervention. I think this is most recent, and knowing the area very well and looking at the previous phenological graph and when the season starts, I don't think that anything has been planted yet, but if you look at this, it's the evapotranspiration. And from those who are experts, I know there are experts here, this evapotranspiration is a very good indicator for even for yield forecasting and also the crop water consumption when you're looking at the water productivity in terms of the water input and what the crops will produce. But this is very recent, and from that trend you can see the evapotranspiration is increasing, and I guess it's because of the prevailing temperatures at this moment, and also it's not an area for, let's say, irrigation. Now, again, if we are looking at advisory, such information in terms of evapotranspiration and even rainfall can have that scheduled irrigation when we're looking at irrigation schemes. Now, also a bit just to touch on the early warning. So the early warning is a 10-day interval. Again, here frequency is important. There's also resolution. I know we are looking at a particular farm here, and the desire sometimes is to have that high resolution, but sometimes you have high resolution, but also you have the frequency of it. So sometimes this is information that you need timely, and whenever you want to act, perhaps you just need that information very fast. So even at a greater scale in terms of let's look at a county or even the entire nation, we can see where these alerts are coming from. In this area particularly, it was, I would say there were no alerts except for this farm, particularly the one being crossed to the yellow box, but that is a level 1 alert. So when it gets to 4, that is the red alert. So this one is still under watch. And if you're giving even farm advisory and you're using this platform and you know you can reach out to that farmer, or it's a big government project, then an advisory can be issued to put the conditions under watch. And also you can prepare for some of these unforeseen events in case conditions get worse. So with this information, we can see that we are moving through the timeline in which the crops have been planted and to the point where they are being harvested. Now, bearing in mind that information that I just presented, we started from the farm level and we are trying to look at it from the different perspectives, even at the policy level, where this information is relevant. Earlier on, I think Vangelis was trying to compute the statistics from the county level, or by drawing the polygon. So by inspection, we're trying to see a way that we can generate all the statistics so that at that, if you're making decisions at that level, you can have the information at hand. So clearly what we see here is, depending on the different user levels, from people who are dealing directly with farmers to people who want to make decisions, we have the opportunity to use this platform or plug into the platform and without having to spend too much efforts on redeveloping or recreating some efforts. As you saw, like, we just loaded some of the data sets that we had on farms, and we can generate such information from what is already existing. And here we are looking at what the end user wants, and mostly it's the crop extent and status and health and condition, and then the interventions to improve the yields, as you've seen, and also the forecasting of the yields. So, and this is relevant information to the Ministry of Agriculture, the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization, that's CALRO, and even FAA, which are collecting agricultural statistics. So you've seen the way you can generate statistics from the platform, and from the use case also demonstrated some of the statistics that we can generate.